I don't think people understand the other side that comes with it. So they're so quick to call you strange and weird, but it's almost as if you're forced to be different because it's not normal.
Ever wondered how Michael Jackson, the king of pop, lived beyond the stage? From his multi-million-dollar car collection to the iconic Neverland mansion. But why did Michael Jackson borrow a lot of money during his career? Let's find out right now. Michael Jackson was a famous American singer and actor who is also known for his charitable work. When he died, he owed $500 million due to overspending and borrowing. Even so, his estate earned over $2 billion later. He sold more than 750 million albums, including 35 million after he passed away. Few sources also called him the highest paid entertainer twice while he was alive. From 1985 to 1995, Jackson made $50 to $100 million each year from tours, music sales, endorsement, and merchandise. However, he spent his money quickly on a luxurious lifestyle costing around $50 million annually. For example, he paid $12 million to his girlfriend Debbie Rowe and spent $20 million settling a legal case. The Neverland Ranch, which he bought for $19.5 million, cost another $10 million every year to maintain. He also spent $35 million turning it into an amusement park. Additionally, he spent between $50 and $100 million on movies and music projects that never materialized. And then there were the Bentleys, the antiques, the art, the exotic animals, and those famous diamond-encrusted gloves. Michael Jackson had major financial troubles when he died in 2009, owning $500 million more than he owned. To fund his lifestyle, he once borrowed $380 million from Bank of America, using his 50% share on Sony ATV Music Publishing as security. The interest on this loan alone was tens of millions every year. Within a short time, he spent all $380 million plus an extra $120 million, leading to his massive debt at the time of his death. One of Jackson's most valuable assets was his ownership of 2 music catalogs. Through his company, My Jack Music, he controlled his own songs and tracks by artists like Sly and the Family Stone. Notably, he also owned 50% of the company that owned the Beatles catalog, along with hundreds of thousands, now millions of other songs. Jackson began acquiring music rights in the early 1980s, starting with Sly and the Family Stone's catalog. He then purchased iconic singles such as Great Balls of Fire and When a Man Loves a Woman. In 1984, Jackson bought the Beatles catalog, known as ATV Music, for $47.5 million. In 1991, Sony paid him $95 million to merge ATV with its catalog, forming Sony ATV, where both would have equal ownership. Michael agreed, doubling his initial investment and gaining 50% ownership in a significantly larger music publishing company. Additionally, Jackson retained full control over his own songs through a separate company, My Jack Music. In 2016, Sony paid Jackson's estate $750 million for its share of the company. Today, Sony ATV controls millions of songs and is valued at $2 to $4 billion. Publishing had expanded rapidly over the next decade to manage 200,000 songs. By 2030, Sony ATV had grown further to control 2 million songs, including works by artists such as Lady Gaga, Bob Dylan, Beck, and Eminem. In 2012 alone, the company earned $1.25 billion from licensing and royalties, with a total income of $500 million. Today, Sony ATV is valued between $2 to $4 billion. The Beatles catalog was originally owned by Robert Holmes in 1984. The Australian businessman was selling it through ATV Music Publishing, which held the rights to around 4,000 songs, including those of the Beatles. Paul McCartney and John Lennon signed a bad contract at the beginning of their careers. During his lifetime, Michael Jackson earned around $500 million from his music, concerts, videos, and endorsements. However, by the time of his death in 2009, he was deeply in debt, owning approximately $500 million. Jackson's lavish lifestyle drained his finances with annual expenses. His spending included a $20 million settlement in a child molestation lawsuit and $65 million on various video projects, including the co-written film Ghosts with Stephen King. He also faced a $12 million divorce settlement with Debbie Rowe and spent tens of millions on luxury items such as Bentleys, antiques, art, clothes, chimpanzees, and diamond-encrusted gloves. His financial decisions were often naive, and he had an unreasonable expectation of his net worth. As his debts increased, he engaged in complex financial deals with banks, hedge funds, and other entities in an effort to maintain his lifestyle and revive his career. Despite these efforts, he exhausted the entire loan amount before his death and struggled to cover interest payments, let alone repay the principal. This financial burden compelled Jackson to plan the This Is It comeback tour, which some argue contributed to his untimely death. Following his death, Jackson's estate administrators aggressively worked to stabilize his finances and avoid selling his valuable music assets. His will granted 40% of his estate to his 3 children, divided equally, while another 20% was designated for children's charities. The remaining 40% was set aside to support his mother, Catherine, but after her passing, this portion would go down to his children, ensuring they eventually inherit 80% of the estate. Ironically, Michael Jackson's finances improved significantly after his death on June 15, 2009. Since then, he has consistently been the highest-earning deceased celebrity worldwide. Shortly after his passing, his estate took action to stabilize his financial situation. They sold his future music rights to Sony for $250 million, the largest deal of its kind at the time. They also created a film called This Is It from his personal home videos, which earned over $500 million globally. Following the film's success and the record deal, other companies sought to collaborate, such as Pepsi licensing his image and Cirque du Soleil producing 2 Las Vegas shows based on his music. Jackson's estate is half owner of these shows. Additionally, Jackson left behind tens of thousands of personal items and memorabilia stored in 3 large warehouses in Southern California. These are kept until his children reach adulthood, at which point they can decide what to keep or sell. Since his death, Michael Jackson's estate has earned over $700 million compared to the earnings of any other artist during the same period. His executors have successfully repaid his loans and secured the future of his valuable music catalog. Here's a thought to wrap it up. What secrets about Michael Jackson's lifestyle and finances remained undiscovered? Don't forget to comment down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.